Welcome in to the Sikkim 365 Sports Baylor post-game show. Paul Catalina alongside Brian Etheridge here, Jacob Wilson producing, and 254-339-1122. That's the call, text. We're ready for it here. And Brian, this was a game, Baylor falls 36-25. There's going to be a lot of calls I'm going to tell you about Jeff Grimes and some play calling today. I only will agree with one play that was bad, was the toss sweep in the end zone. I don't like that play. I don't like that play on the 1 yard line on the other side.
No.
I like anytime you're on the 1 yard line, you just go straight ahead. You don't go
Correct.
back. But I think this is a game that a lot of the Baylor players are going to want back, because there were some mistakes made that are things that when some of these guys are veterans and older, they're not going to do.
Yes, and this is something I've watched. I mean, there was just some breakdowns and some blocking. There was breakdowns. There's some drops. There's some, drops obviously resulted in interception. And there's also, Blake Shapen being a young quarterback, making a decision there on that out route, for the final interception of the game. Baylor had more yardage than Oklahoma State, but it is one of those games. They had one turnover, had two turnovers. There was two turnovers that could have happened for Baylor that Oklahoma State fell on. And hey, I put this in my article. These were the two heavyweights of this conference right now, slugging it out.
Yeah, and
Oklahoma State landed the last blow.
Yeah,
and got the knockout.
They absolutely did, and I think that there's a lot to kind of unpack about this game. Some things that Baylor was kind of able to do, right? They were able to run the ball at times, but because of how poorly they played in the first half, it negated it for long stretches of the game.
Correct.
And because of some of those mistakes, drops and whatnot, then it makes it that much worse, right?
Yeah, you're down 13 at half. Comes out, Oklahoma State gets the ball in the second half with the ball and make the stop, start making a game of it, and it just you played catch up the entire game, and that's just not going to happen against a good Oklahoma State team. I mean, Mike Gundy's a great coach. They have a great staff over there. They've done several things. We did see Baylor were able to exploit Oklahoma State in the secondary a little bit. Monterey Baldwin, what a game! 174 yards on 7 catches. 70 of that was the long touchdown run. The reception across the middle. So that's something that we've got to see. We're getting to see a little bit of the Baylor offense break out a little bit differently, because this is still a solid Oklahoma State defense.
Yeah.
And, a lot of returners. That defensive line is legit. They have really fast linebackers. But the one thing that Baylor should have been able to exploit, they did at times, but not totally during the game.
Yeah. Let's see. From Kenny Powers on YouTube, revenge feels nice. Hello, people. Man, that was sad. Infinity, the toss sweep was the worst decision. Could have won that game easily. Same can be said for the OSU side. So
I don't think you can win that game easy. This game is not an easy game for either of these teams. These are two of your better teams in the conference, and they are going to slug it out. And it was a slugfest. I mean, again, we start looking back here. Richard Reese averaged five on the ground. Sanders averaged 6. Or a little over 5. This was, really and truly, you might see these two teams again in Arlington in December. Baylor needs to button up some things that they had problems with today. The drops. They got to figure out what they're doing in the secondary. They can't release receivers down their field again like that. Bryson Green got loose and, ran right by the corner. And then another time they ran the reverse. No one within 15 yards of him, just like Gavin Holmes against Iowa State.
Yeah.
That has to be corrected. And it hasn't been corrected in the first 5 games of the season. We've been watching it. It's just replays. Iowa State, Albany, all those games had a free release. The wide receiver ran a free release. I don't think it's due to the athleticism of the cornerbacks at Baylor. What is it? Is it what the technique they're being coached?
I think it's the technique they're going through right now. And from the 361, looking for positives. Glad to see Baldwin back and showing out today. And this doesn't take Baylor out of contention for the Big 12 title. It didn't last year. This does take them. CFP is off the table. as of today.
But
it was probably before. But,
hold on, Alabama, man, they don't have a quarterback now, so we'll see what happens there. But no, just kidding.
I mean, two losses pretty much takes you out of the CFP.
Yes.
Outside of everywhere, but the conference that ESPN has anointed.
Correct.
But. Other than that, does take them out of doesn't take them out of contention for the Big 12 title. Got to execute better, not call sweet plays back in your own end zone. Too many missed opportunities. And look, I get it. When you have a guy like Richard Reese and you run a toss sweep, you kind of trust him. And I know what the thought was. It's like, if this goes this way, they could get 30 yards or more.
Yep.
Now, I would have rather seen and part of this was Monterey Baldwin, after this, kind of had his resurgence.
Correct.
Before this, maybe that would have been the time to run that play action and go over the top and see if you could go, for a big play there.
Yes.
But I still think at that point in the game, they were like, okay, come on, Monterey, come on. And then he had a breakout game today.
Just
like
monster.
a true breakout game. I know Albany was a big game for him, but that's not,
That's not this.
This was Monterey Baldwin's breakout game.
Correct.
So,
This is a Power 5 breakout game
where
you go for 174 yards in a game and got to see his speed. I mean, Hal Presley had a nice game there, 39 yards, receiving. But Baylor just needs a little bit more out of the run game today. But again, Richard Reese only had 17 carries. Why? I mean, that's something I think Baylor could have seen a little bit more. He had a long of 24. But Oklahoma State, they were crowding into the box, see if Chapin could beat him deep. He did, twice. But we saw just certain plays that we shook our heads at, not the play call, but just the execution of the play. And I think that's something that they're going to have to clean up in the film room.
Yep. By the way, Kansas is about to go 5-0, wrapping up a 14-11 win over Iowa State. It's going to be 2 straight losses for the Cyclones. Let's go to the phones. Stephen in Virginia. Thanks for your call, 254-339-1122.
Hey, guys, I'm going to try not to be as mad as I really want to be. But, Gavin Holmes dropping 3 passes. Those 3 passes could have changed the game. And I guess it's time to reset expectations. You're not going to go 12-2 and have your best year every single year. But, man, I mean, TCU kicked some butt today, and I'm not sure we're going to beat them now. And, man, I'm tired of watching Blake Shapen slide early. I'm tired of this side-to-side mess that's like 3 yards. And then, he finally does throw it downfield, and he throws a pick, and I don't blame him for the second pick because he had to throw the ball down the field. Here, 3 minutes to go. Something has to happen. Something's got to give, though. We can't have this passing game be this inept outside of Monterey Baldwin, and we can't have no running game. I mean, at the beginning of the year, we all said that we would rather have an experienced offensive line and defensive line coming back than have experienced skill position players. But not having the experienced skill position players has really come to bite us in the butt. And it would have been really nice if the Baylor fans stuck around in the stadium. So that's all I really have to say, guys. I hope you all have a good.
Oh, thank you, Steven. Sorry, I dropped you a little quick. That's on my bad. I will say this, Jake. I said it to Jacob when I was walking out.
Yep.
I said there are way too many people out here. This should just be. It's halftime. It should just be me and you, buddy. Like there shouldn't be this wave of people walking out of the stadium, and you could see it in the second half. That's something. Look. Yeah, you're down by 2 scores. They almost brought it all the way back really quickly, if not for the kickoff return. Again, there were errors made in this game by the players that they're going to want back in a hurry.
Correct.
And they've got the off week this week, probably coming at a good time after kind of a roller coaster last 3 weeks before they've got to go to Morgantown, a place they've never won on a Thursday night and play. So this is an all-important off week for them. Get some rest, get some perspective, and go back to it. 12-2 still on the table. All that's still on the table. They could match. They lost to Oklahoma State early last year.
Yes.
They lost 2 total games. I'm telling you, like, you can look at TCU and freak out today. You can look at Kansas and freak out. This league is going to beat the crap out of each other all year long. There is not a good. There's not a good or not a bad team in this league. It's a good league.
It is.
There's not a bad team. There's not a free week. No one. Like, what happened to Oklahoma or today, or what happened to Iowa State today, or what happened to Baylor today, it's going to happen to Oklahoma State. It's going to happen to TCU, and it's going to happen to Kansas.
Yeah.
It's going to happen to them. It's already happened to Texas. It's already happened to Texas Tech. It's going to, like, Kansas State hasn't lost a game in the league yet, but it's going to happen to them too.
Yes.
It's going to happen because this is the way the league is going to go. I don't see a CFP team coming out of this league, not because there's not a team that's good enough to play with those teams in the top 4, but because there's going to be some attrition here.
There's just parity across the Big 12 this year. It is pretty ridiculous how deep they are. And you start figuring out how many of the Big 12 teams could make a bowl.
I mean, theoretically, all 10 might be able to.
Yeah, I mean, right now, so Kansas is going to be 5-0. One more win. They got Texas on the schedule still. Just kidding, Texas.
Well, they got
a lot of people still on the schedule.
Yeah.
They could go out and get another victory, and then Kansas, the team that's supposed to finish last, has got 6 victories. So Baylor needs 3 more victories. Oklahoma State needs 2 more. All these teams have winning records. It's going to beat up. You could have a bunch of 6-6, 7-5 teams out there, and possibly your champions 8-4, 9-3. That's how this league is going to look this year. And again, you're talking about there's no Georgia. There's no Alabama, or an Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, there's those 3. They're going to be in the college football playoff again. So, if Oklahoma State somehow ran the table here and does it, or Kansas, that's one thing. I don't really see that happening. Just like you, I think that there's going to be a game that just comes up and somebody gets bit, and it happens. But having this game early in conference for Baylor. Right now, they can go back and put everything that's on film bad in this game and correct it and come back out there and do something with it. That is what you hope happens. If that doesn't happen, then there's other issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah. Jacob Summers is calling me a fat man on the chat room. So way to go, buddy. I'm not saying Oklahoma State's bad. I'm just saying they're going to lose a game. You know why? Because everybody but 3 teams a year or 2 loses a game. That's what happens. They're going to lose. They're going to lose a game. Every team in the Big 12 is going to lose 1 game this year, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. Every team in the SEC, but maybe 1 or 2, is going to lose a game. Every team in the Big 10, going to lose a game, but 1 or 2. Every single one.
I mean, Ohio State or Michigan are going to lose because they're playing each other.
That's how it works.
I mean, that's the one thing about the Big 12 with the parity, and they know each other. These teams know each other. I mean, and Aranda and Gundy know each other.
Yeah.
Today, Oklahoma State came out ahead of Baylor, and it happens.
Do I think Oklahoma State's the team to beat in this league? Yeah. I do. I absolutely do. After today, I was impressed. I've not said one negative thing about Oklahoma State.
No.
Not one. Not one.
You mentioned the possibility of them losing, though, Paul.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen to some badass mofo teams this year.
Yes.
They're going to lose a game. Alabama's probably going to lose a game.
I mean, really think about this. Did A&M ever think they were going to lose to Appalachian State? Yeah. No. Did Miami think they'd lose to Middle Tennessee State?
Yeah. I'm going to show these on the chat room so that people can see what I'm mad about. I'm not afraid to be criticized. I'm just telling you right now, listen to what I'm saying. Oklahoma State is a team I don't want to play. If I'm anybody,
no,
I don't want to play them.
They beat Notre Dame last year.
I'm telling you, they're going to lose a game.
Paul,
there's 12.
Paul, a quick chance for you to call your shot here. Who beats Oklahoma State in the Big 12?
Let's see.
I mean, Bedlam's always crazy.
I mean, Bedlam's crazy. I mean, like Oklahoma by the end of the year, that's
Texas could come and bite them.
Look, if Quinn Ewers comes back and can play through that injury until he starts feeling better, I'd be like, Tech could beat them. Anybody in this league can beat anybody else. I'm going to tell you right now, look, Oklahoma State's defense is not what it was last year. They've got some deficiencies that they didn't have. It's still good.
Yes.
But Kansas can score 28 points in a quarter just like that. So Kansas could beat you. Adrian Martinez is playing with a crap load of confidence right now. He can beat you. So
yeah. And it's going to be the one thing, if you start looking at it, without that kickoff return, this was 29-25. It wasn't that, but that is, and again, I'm not taking away the kickoff return. You can't give up a kickoff return and usually win a game like this.
Yeah. Let's go to Matt. Let's go to Matt in DC to help calm me down.
We got to get Paul.
No, don't be calm, Paul. Don't be calm. You're doing great. Hey, You're doing great. I got a lot of points in this game. First thing is, what happened to our offensive style and our mindset? From what I understand, we're a running football team, right? And I like how we opened up with the passing. We got down to the goal line. Gavin Holmes catches it, touchdown. All right, take the 3. But when we got back to the other side of the goal line, it's 3rd and 1, and we throw the ball. I think, was Jeff trying to outthink himself today? Throw. I get it. We're a running football team. We run the ball in 3rd and 1. We get the first down or the touchdown. And then on 4th and 1, they just got us. I'm 3rd and 1. Also in that, as we were going, I hate the fact that Blake has to look to the sideline for every play. If all of a sudden we get down to the goal line, don't look to the sideline. Just call a quarterback sneak, get on the line, have some more command. I want to see have more command. Just more command. Don't look to the sideline every single time. If you see the momentum, and I know you're it's only a sophomore year, I get it. Maybe if he's a junior or senior, we'll see that. But I'm just don't look to the sideline for every play. When you have him on the ropes and it's a few inches for a 4th and 1 or something, just go for it. I think if Gavin Holmes catches a few more passes, not blaming him completely, but you got to catch the ball, man. Just catch the ball. We can't have the run backs on that. I mean, I'm used to having touchbacks, so you kick the ball at the back of the end zone. Just so many weird things happened today. But the honesty is we couldn't stop Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's offense did whatever they wanted to our defense. That's the first time I've seen a Baylor defense just get torn apart. We had no answer for them. Our defensive backs are undersized and not turning their heads back in 2011. And our defensive line is not getting enough pressure. We should have sent more blitzes today. It was just a weird day. But you know what, right? You know what? College football playoff is out of the question with a 2-loss Baylor team. So the goal now for all Baylor Nation is to win the Big 12 and then win the Sugar Bowl, because that's the highest we can accomplish now. It's still on the table. Also, if you're down by 2 scores at halftime, don't leave the game. Come on. I understand if we're down by 30 in the 4th quarter with 5 minutes left, people are going to leave, but come on, stay there. If I can make it to a game from D.C. and I'm staying, come on, just stay through half. That's all I'm asking. But you know what? Let's get back to running the damn ball. Run the damn ball in Morgantown, and I hope to see a lot of Baylor fans in Morgantown in a few weeks. I'll see all you there. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Always Matt in D.C. Loves talking to Matt. But, it's just – yeah, I mean, we are in the midst of a year in the Big 12 that is like one we probably haven't ever seen.
No.
I mean, Kansas is 5-0. And Kansas is 5-0 and no one else sucks. So think about that. Not to knock the years that Mangino had them with Reesing and they were good.
Correct.
But there were a couple teams that really sucked then, like this one.
Yes, Baylor was horrible.
So there were teams that were bad. So you've got teams that are good across the board. Bottom line, this is, and buckle in. If you're a fan of a Big 12 team right now, this is every week. And Oklahoma, they've got issues. They're going to come back and do that to somebody else. And it's just going to be this,
there are no easy outs.
Yeah.
There are no easy outs. And Big 12 fans got used to the easy outs of Kansas and a little bit of Tech.
Yeah.
And that's not the case anymore. I mean, there's a lot of teams with a lot of momentum and playing really hard.
Yeah.
Now, some key injuries could stop that across several teams. Jalen Daniels goes down. Kansas is going to change pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But so far they haven't. And Iowa State couldn't do anything today on offense against them. So we will see.
Yeah. Brian, have you ever, I don't know how deep you go into the old spaghetti westerns, but I had to grow up watching them.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see one called My Name is Nobody?
Yes.
Okay, you know the scene in My Name is Nobody where he's just popping up and slapping those guys and they can't find him?
Yeah.
That's the Big 12 this year. You have no idea when you're going to pop up and get slapped. You're just what? What just happened?
Yes.
That's how it is.
I mean, what's the composer for all the spaghetti westerns? Nisi, I can't think of it. He's the Italian guy who did them all. Yeah, that guy, he made a living, and I'm pretty appreciative of his entire catalog. Yeah. But it's going to happen.
Yeah, mark it down right now. The Big 12 this year is a spaghetti western, and if you don't get that reference, I'm sorry, you're 26 years old. But the Big 12, and your dad didn't make you watch them when you were 9.
Oh, yeah. Go hit the YouTube or go find them somewhere. I mean, Netflix, they have them all.
Crazy stuff that happens. Like, that's what it is. It's going to be one big thing. And it's great, except for being a fan of an individual team, because you know that each week going in. Now, Oklahoma State, they're the best team right now. They're the one who has to have any blemishes. And this was their first challenge of the season.
Passed it.
On the road, flying colors. Spencer Sanders had turnovers, but so did Baylor.
Yes.
So Baylor made more mistakes than Oklahoma State did today, and that's the big difference in the game. That's the 11 points. We'll take a break right here. We'll come back. We'll get more to your text. Got a great text on the text line. We will get to 254-339-1122. I am fired up. Paul Catalina, Brian Etheridge, Jacob Wilson. This is the postgame show, 365 Sports.
Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
TFNB, your bank for life, is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB, your bank for life. Member FDIC.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. Nachos and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Cars priced right both day and night. Average your car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. Average your car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. Average your car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. Average your car in Waco, Texas.
This is the Baylor Postgame Show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, TFNB, your bank for life, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, Three Nations Brewing Company, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, Edward Jones Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, and Bubba's 33.
Paul Catalina, Brian Etheridge, Jacob Wilson, post-game show, 365 Sports. I was fired up. I usually don't let the chat room get me, but when you come unoriginal to me, this guy was calling me Paul Blart Mall Cop. I'm going to tell you a story. This is an embarrassing story, Brian, but this is gonna tell you how long I've dealt with Kevin James comparisons in my life through different fluctuations of weight gain. Which again, you're not gonna get me about that. I don't care. It's life takes different turns. But I was on a date one time with a girl many years ago. It was when the movie Hitch was out.
Okay.
Who is the second biggest name in the movie Hitch after Will Smith? Kevin James.
Kevin James, yeah.
I'm walking in to see the movie, and this kid couldn't be 13, 14 years old. Goes, oh, man, look, he's going to see his own movie. Let me tell you how that date went not well. Because when she saw it, it was like it dinged in her head. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to date the King of Queens. But to me, don't care. It's fine.
It could have been Here Comes the Boom.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
You could have gone to see it.
Yeah, again, those are the worst movies. So, but I got fired up. I'm fired up, and I'm fired up by the point of I'm fired up by the Big 12 Conference this year. We're going to have the big one, too, on Monday night, Brian.
Yeah.
And if people have not watched that, that's me and Roy and Ogletree. We've got a lot to talk about this league. This league is nuts, and Baylor experienced it today.
Here it is, though. I mean, again, we're going back, and I'm going to pull something else in here. Realignment, your favorite topic. But think about this, how much passion is on this right here for this league compared to, say, another league that maybe has on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, there were more people that left during the Baylor halftime than we actually see some of those games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're seeing right now. And the Big 12 is crazy, and it's great, and it is much-watched TV now for everybody because you're going, well, what's Kansas going to do now? And, let's Oklahoma State may be able to win it again this year.
I'm thrilled that there's a bye week next week for Baylor because it means that we get to watch the rest of the games in full. I
was heading to Disney. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that stopped. I mean, come on. I mean, my entire changes just, life just changed because we were like, oh, there's a hurricane. No, we're not going to Disney now. Yeah, great.
So, from the text line from the 214, I get verklempt.
Verklempt. Speak amongst yourselves.
From the 214, can the mounting issues on offense be on Grimes and position coaches, or do we not have the talent at the positions? I don't think it's on the coaches.
No.
I don't. I think it is inexperience at the skill positions, and the day was not a great day for the offensive line. It was not their banner day, but they had times where Shapen had tons of time to throw.
Correct.
I think part of it is they're not completely – there were times where this offense was completely in sync last year as a unit. There are times where, okay, the receivers are open, wide open, they've beaten the coverage, but – the protection breaks down.
Correct.
Blake Shapen's held the ball too long. Today, there were times where Shapen was standing with a wide open pocket and the receivers weren't getting open. So they need to find time to do both those things at the same time. That's what they're not doing like they did last year where, and they don't have drives that are back, pick your poison. Okay, like last year, you want to come up, put 8 in the box? All right, we're going to go over the top. Even with Gary Bohannon, we're going to score some points because of Tyquan Thornton and Ben Sims and Estrada and those guys and RJ Sneed. This team just doesn't have those pick your poison moments. It seems like one thing or the other is working on either drive, not at the same time. And when that happens, I think they'll be really, really good. But that's maybe why they need the bye week right now to make sure that those things start happening on back-to-back plays.
I think also getting healthy. They don't have their number one running back. We have to remember that. So I think they're missing the Abram Smith, which would be hopefully Tay McWilliams, but we haven't seen Tay McWilliams enough to know he's Abram Smith. And I think that's something that they're missing because right now, no offense to Squirrel Williams or Richard Reese, when they're in pass protection and they're 175 pounds going against a guy who's 265, 270, it usually doesn't end in a win. And that's what you saw with Abram Smith and Treston Ebner last year. So you have Quaylon Jones, who's is the best pass protection and running back, and Tay McWilliams was also. Yeah. So with him being out, we're not seeing the full offense. We're still not seeing it. And again, we got Grant Miller back today. I think Mose Jeffrey got the start, but we saw Grant Miller play most of the last of the game, and the right side looked better than the left side for the first time all season. So we saw uncharacteristic things from the left side of the O-line. We saw some plays where the O-linemen did not reach to their blocks, did not get to their blocks, and we also saw Connor Galvin get beat. We usually don't see that. And we saw him get beat by a speed rush inside. He never gets beat by a speed rush inside. And that happened today. We also saw just some whiffs in protection that we usually don't see. And I think that is inexperience. Is it the center not calling that protection? Is it Chapin not calling that protection? Is it the running back not calling that protection? We're not going to know that, but that is something we're seeing. So there is some miscommunication still in that backfield, and then on the team due to the inexperience.
Yeah, gotten a couple texts and comments on the chat room about people leaving early, and I do think that's something that you just got to stop doing. Like if you go, like Jacob and I left the game early.
It wasn't too hot.
You left the game early. You know why we leave the game early? But you know why we leave the game early? Because we have to be back here.
And why I don't go in the game is because I am here writing articles or doing things at halftime. Yeah.
But
so
don't leave. Brian. If you're a fan, you come in and my mother can attest to this. I knew this at 7 years old. There was a Thanksgiving Day game the Cowboys played against the Seahawks in 87 or 88.
Okay.
It was very cold.
Yes.
We went. The Cowboys were losing. I believe Steve Pelleur was the quarterback. And there was time on the clock. And my parents were like, we're going to go. And I was like, no. This is my first Cowboys game.
We're going to sit here and watch it.
We're going to sit here and watch it.
We're going to take it in.
Yeah. Do you know the feeling of being an 8-year-old and then feeling on the way home that everybody's mad at you? Like, not because you did something bad, but because, like, you kind of, I didn't do anything wrong. It's just they were just like, well, now,
Yeah. I know. I've felt that as an 8-year-old.
This was a stupid birthday present to get him.
Yeah, exactly. No,
talk about your all-time backfires.
Yes.
Yeah. But stay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm over here, so I'm not in the stadium. I didn't get to see it because I was in here working while I was, instead of working at the tailgate. And since we did the tailgate since, 8:30 this morning, I think we started the tailgate. So working that, I come over here to cool off. And so it could have been hot at the stadium. I don't know. I know it wasn't hot in the shade, so maybe the side. But the students stayed.
Yeah.
It looked like the students stayed, which was nice. But there were some areas where people left a little early. And, I guess when you're down 13, that's what they do. But for me, came back within one score.
Yeah.
How many people left the TCU Baylor game in 2014?
A lot.
Yeah. And they all say they were there now, but no, you weren't.
You missed what I believe is the greatest game that's ever been played at that stadium.
Correct. And I was there, and
I don't know if it's the greatest game in Baylor history, but it's the best game that's ever been played at McLean.
It is
61-58.
Yeah. I think it's the best Baylor game of all time, personally.
Yeah.
And if there's always this debate about the disconnect between Waco community and Baylor community. Let's end that and stay for the whole game, or at least at halftime when you're only down 16-3. Like, it's not. I mean, I'm a diehard, sports fan just in general. I think if you're going to go through the rigmarole of going to a game, stick it out. You might witness something amazing.
You paid for those tickets. Use them. Right?
This is my message to not just Baylor fans. It's all of sports fans. If it's a legit blowout, fine, beat the traffic. But if it's if it's 16-3 at half, this is not the wishbone era.
No.
This is not where you sit on the ball forever. Like, there are things that are different. We're going to take a break right here. We'll come back, wrap it up. Final thoughts from all three of us, Paul Catalina, Brian Etheridge, and Jacob Wilson. This is the postgame show, Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
If you're out looking for a great selection of new cars and trucks, then shop Allen Samuels in Waco, because we have some of the best deals in Central Texas that will put you in a new vehicle and driving away with confidence. During the Labor Day sales event, you can take your pick, a new 2022 Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger, and receive 0% for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. If you're a first responder, you get an extra $500 off your purchase. High-quality vehicles from a dealership with a hometown feel. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Did you know that Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness is a partner of the city of Waco? Did you know that we are open to the public? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers day passes to the public for only $10 a day, and we offer money-saving memberships. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers over 40 group exercise classes each week, including bar, yoga, boot camp, indoor cycling, and more. There are free weights, weight machines, TRX, rowing machines, stationary bikes, new treadmills, elliptical machines, and much more on the spacious weight room floor. Personal training available where you can be encouraged to grow. Sauna, whirlpool, tanning bed, and kids club. 17 tennis courts, 8 pickleball courts, youth and adult tennis and pickleball lessons. Waco's premier experience where you can help your mind, body, and soul. Visit our website at wacotennis.com. Call us at 254-753-7675 or visit us next to Hawaiian Falls on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
TFNB Your Bank for Life is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB Your Bank for Life. Member FDIC.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
This is the Baylor Postgame Show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, TFNB, your bank for life, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, 3 Nations Brewing Company, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, Edward Jones Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, and Bubba's 33.
All right, it's time to wrap it up and give our final thoughts. We'll start with Jacob Wilson, our producer. Jacob, final thoughts, Baylor, Oklahoma State.
I mean, one final thought that I have is we haven't really acknowledged that Spencer Sanders, he might just be better this year. There was so much talk over the week about how Baylor's going to pick him off 4 times, or, I mean, that's an exaggeration, obviously. They got 1 interception, but I think Oklahoma State used him in a way that they should have used him last year, and it really paid off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. I mean, that's why I was saying Oklahoma State has great coaches, and he was 20-29, hit the little short yardage passes.
Yeah, he didn't light up the stat sheet, but he looked efficient. He looked good.
He was very efficient today, and, you know, again, he got out of containment and got 75 yards on the ground. I think that was something that Baylor couldn't let happen, and it did, and that kept drives going. And, again, those guys get scholarships too.
This dude, okay, look, this dude's gotten better every year, it's Spencer Sanders, right?
Mm-hmm. Is this 6th year?
5th. It's his 5th year. And so he's better. Like
I thought this was his 6th.
He might be.
He blew his knee out in high school and then blew his knee out in college.
Yeah.
So either way, 5th or 6th year, he's gotten better.
He's gotten a lot better, and he's gotten better every year. And they figured out ways to let him be Spencer Sanders without just going full Spencer Sanders. Right. And that is the mark of a good coaching staff. And Baylor made some mistakes today that made some mistakes. There were unforced errors, not to take away from Oklahoma State, but the unforced errors that Baylor made today were really costly, as where Oklahoma State's unforced errors wound up not being.
Correct.
And those, because everybody has them. You know, Baylor had some ones, 3 drops by Gavin Holmes. He's going to. He's not going to look back at this one fondly.
No, one of the more sure-handed receivers on the team drops 3 balls.
Yeah.
And one results in an interception. Very rarely going to happen.
Yeah. One might have been a touchdown. He had one guy to beat when he turned around. It depended on which way he would have turned.
Correct.
But it was going to be a first down and goal after that.
Yep.
The second one was would have been a 50-yard play.
Correct.
And the third one wound up being an interception.
The 50-yard play was a little bit difficult of a catch.
Yeah.
But it's something that we expect, or we always think like, wow, he always brings it in.
His fingers were on the ball. That's it. So, Brian, your final thoughts.
Ton of tape, ton of things that we can corrected, and get healthy, get ready for West Virginia. West Virginia on a Thursday night. That is what I've been saying for the past since BYU. I mean, 9 players missed time after BYU. 9 starters have missed time. That's almost half your starting team. So getting those guys back, getting your starting running back should come back there. I was surprised Cole Maxwell's back today. He did make it back in, played, but he's going to be better for the West Virginia game. So you're going to see plays. They should be playing better, or healthier, and that's the one thing. Get healthy, come back, go play Oklahoma State again.
Yeah. You've got 10 days. Here's my final thought. You got 10 days to get ready to do something you've never done before, which is go to Morgantown to win, and whatever that 10 days entails, I think that Dave Aranda will have that on lock. But Oklahoma State just came into Waco and did something they haven't done in a long time, which is win here.
Well, no, they won in 2020.
Okay.
That one, that was just a beating. That shouldn't have been played. Yeah.
In a real situation.
Correct.
Not in a Baylor had 2 guys over the COVID limit and they decided to play game.
Correct.
But like in an actual, not to, it counts, and I get that, but
that was just a beat down.
Let's be realistic about 2020.
That was an unfair game.
Yeah, so it was not. That was like that game against the prison guys and unnecessary roughness. That's what that was. Just overmatched.
Yeah.
I mean, we got coaches like, hey, have you ever won a headset and called plays? Guess what? You're going to.
Yeah.
Hope you've taken copious notes. But yeah, they haven't done it in a long time in a situation like this.
Yeah. Hey, Catalina, you want the jet sweep in the end zone?
I know that since I was healthy and didn't have COVID, I was probably on the list of people who could have done that. Not high, but
I got set in the press box again. Just, hey, what's up?
Throw it deep. Hey, who wants to come
do
this?
The Baylor Bears put in their tallow boy at wide receiver.
Exactly. It was that bad. So in a situation, a big-time situation, a situation that matters, this first time Oklahoma State under these this kind of situation has done this, and it's because they're good. It's also because let's not take out they've been thinking about this one for a little bit, considering how they lost the last game. There's a little bit of, Billy Madison, Steve Buscemi list here. Crossing things off when you have to sit and think about the McPlay all year long. When you're in the 2-5-4, hey, the McPlay's the greatest thing that's ever happened. When you're in Stillwater, Oklahoma, you see that from a different perspective.
At Big 12 Media Days, people were pointing to that end zone and asking Oklahoma State players how they felt during their media sessions, and asking Spencer Sanders what it felt like to throw 4 interceptions in the Big 12 championship game. And I'm sitting there in Spencer Sanders' group, and I'm going, wow, this is just harsh on this kid. And he was a stud in high school. I mean, he was up there in Denton. Yeah. Seen him in high school. Great kid. I mean, can't say anything but negative about him, right? That game doesn't define him. He's had a great career at Oklahoma State. We're going to see him do great things still in games. But there is always that one game that everybody goes, well, there was Spencer Sanders being Spencer Sanders.
Yeah.
And this was not his Spencer Sanders being Spencer Sanders game. This was a great game, a great managed game. He was very efficient in what he did, and he kept him in the game. And then the kickoff return pretty much sealed the deal. I think when we were in here watching it and that happened, I was like, ball game.
Yeah.
Because that was just too much to come back from at that point.
Look, again, he sat and thought about it. He Johnny Lawrence that stuff for a long time, okay? And that's what he did. I'm giving you deep movie cuts. That one's not so deep anymore. But, yeah, he sat there and thought about the crane kick for a bit and came back today and beat Baylor in Waco. That's what they did.
Hats off to him. I mean, I'm not gonna There's nothing to say bad about Oklahoma State in this game.
Overcame their mistakes, did everything right. They did everything right when they had to.
Correct.
That's what matters. And final thought, the Big 12 is crazy. This is how every week's going to be. There's going to be weird stuff that happens. We've seen this is now 2 full weeks of conference play, of not like intermittent, like one-offs. Yes. 2 full weeks of conference play. We've seen 2 full weeks of bats.
Yes.
It's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Jacob Wilson. Thanks to everybody who called, texted in the chat room, even Kevin James guy. All of you who watch the show, we appreciate whatever you do. Please like and subscribe to all of our family of channels on YouTube. Start with 365 Sports and just work your way down the line. We've got great stuff. We're back again on Monday. Also, tune in for the Big 1-2 live Monday at 6:30 on 365 Sports with me and Royd Ogletree talking about the crazy weekend in the Big 12. We've got that coming to you. This is the post-game show. Good night, everybody.